Wednesday, October 11th. You've tuned into the NFT Morning Show. Today, we're going to discuss the massive partnership announcement between Immutable and Amazon, the MoMA's first ever NFT acquisition, and Polygon's ApeCoin proposal making waves. I think we should also probably mention, everything going on with the FTX trial. Pretty wild stuff. Caroline Ellison testifying against Sam Bankman-Fried in the courtroom yesterday. Many people pointing out that she rolled over on him. Pretty wild stuff. Nick, how you feeling this morning?
And he rolled over on her in their relationship, probably.
Yeah, that was how the sex went. That was a good one.
Well,
I was thinking
they did talk about their breakup extensively and said that he was too focused on work and that they ended things because he did not have time for her.
Well, and that he had sort of hooked her by saying he was going to be president in the future.
Yes.
5% chance.
5% chance.
Is that what he said? 5%?
Yeah, take a Dungeons and Dragons D20 die roll it. If you hit a 20, he's president.
That was not what he said, okay?
That's what I heard. That was in the official court proceedings, was a D20 die roll was the exact verbiage, yes.
That was my way of visualizing it. He said 5% chance, though. Caroline said he said.
Well, that's pretty good odds. It's going to be harder to find anybody else with a 5% chance.
I mean, I agree with that. He definitely had a little bit of delusion. Some other funny little tidbits here. BitBoy Crypto is actually going to be fighting on the main card of a karate combat event. So that'll be a good one. I don't know if this is actually going to go through, if he's going to actually take the fight. It's going to be pretty tough. But look, we're just going to get right into all this. Want to let everybody know that today's
requirement to actually follow, are there required procedures when you're participating in a karate combat fight?
Yeah.
Are you asking me if there's a rule set?
Yeah. What's the rule set associated with that?
You can't bite. You can't kick him in the dick. You can't. Those are some things you can't do.
Of course, there's a rule set. We got a picture.
All right.
Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, just want to let everybody know that we have an artist spotlight today. Zolt Kosa. Zolt is a concept artist and illustrator who joined the digital art space in 2021 after more than a decade in the game industry. His latest focus has been creating one of ones, one of which is being displayed alongside Beeple right now in Tokyo. Make sure you follow Zolt on Twitter. You can see Clemente is going to have the Twitter account username on the screen on YouTube. He'll have it pinned to the top of the Twitter space. The piece is incredible, super duper cool. Go make sure you have an account at thenifty.com. We love showcasing artists, giving them a chance to put work in the hands of collectors that collect NFTs on thenifty.com. So go to thenifty.com, make an account. We'll give out the password later on in the show. Why don't we just get right into the weather report? We can have Kix take it away in just a second. We love having Kix knock down the weather report. Kix, please go ahead.
You got it, Coach. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of October. Market volume coming in at 8.4 million. Floors 4.7. OpenSea 2.3. Let's look over at the NFT market leaders. Mid caps all stable. Captain's biggest mover up 3% to 3.4. We may be getting some Bollinger Band consolidation here. Big move down the road. We'll see other movers, including Rex Guy up 24% after the team swept 20. Gunner Cat Gang up 21% to 0.84. They're rallying on a Rugson acquisition. Little Pudgy's up 7%. Sugar Town down 11% to 0.22. Still up massively as it was a free mint. Over the past 24 hours, Immutable has announced a partnership with Amazon to bring their blockchain infrastructure to Amazon's gaming clients and effectively onboard them to blockchain gaming. This is Amazon's first big venture into Web3 and will have massive implications for the future of blockchain gaming. In Caroline Ellison's testimony against Sam Bankman-Fried, she claimed that Alameda borrowed roughly $14 billion from FTX's customer deposits to repay their debts, as directed by SBF himself.
What's going on with your mic?
When they were dating in 2020, SBF said he would eventually become the president of the United States. The MoMA has acquired unsupervised by Rafik Anadol, which has been the piece displayed at the front of the museum on a temporary basis for nearly 12 months. They said, we like it so much, we want it. He said, no problem. It'll be their first ever NFT. Let's go, Rafik. Lastly, Polygon co-founder Sandeep has proposed the creation of an 8-chain layer 2 solution to help scale the ApeCoin ecosystem without needing to leave the Ethereum blockchain. That's it for the weather report. Back to you in the studio.
I have no idea how you did that to your audio, but thank you for the weather report, Kicks. We got some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. The Daily Digest is posted to X every single morning. It's pinned up top on that Twitter space and emailed to anyone that subscribes at thenifty.com. The fund Spencer Ventures. If you watch this show, you know who Spencer Ventures is run by. It's by our very own Spencer. Has acquired the Three Arrows Capital Pudgy Penguins collection for mid-6 figures as the hedge fund continues to liquidate its NFT portfolio. That's pretty cool, Spencer. Very, very cool stuff. Canpai Pandas teased the next chapter in Canpai Media will be coming on October 31st and actually broke some news. I actually saw this on MMA Twitter that they broke the news on Charles Oliveira pulling out of the title fight. Is actually pretty wild. The typical big-time MMA journalists were referencing the Overdogs podcast. Really cool stuff to see. CryptoPunks has released the first episode of Punks as Told by CryptoPunks documentary in partnership with NFT Now. Last but not least, Pudgy Penguins Cookie Box in collaboration with The Last Crumb, which Spencer described as a very drippy cookie brand in Los Angeles, will be available for $120 a box starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, Nick likes that. $120 cookie box, baby. That's drippy if I've ever heard of one.
A fun fact on the cookie side of things, there's like a startup called Crumble, and they sell these like really nice designer cookies. There's like a little scandal because they put 250 calories and then it's an asterisk and it's 250 calories per serving. And there's 4 servings in the single cookie. So the single cookie is actually 1,000 calories, but they put on the advertising. It's like only 250 calories.
That's how much those cookies, the one that I mentioned before, I'm blanking on the name of the, in West Village is just.
Could you imagine eating a fourth of a cookie? Like, dude, grow up.
They are pretty big. Like they're packed with some heat. Like I eat one and I'm like, I get fired up. I get jazzed up afterwards. It's like when I eat Frosted Flakes before going to bed and then I can't sleep.
The sugar rush hits Clemente really hard.
Which one? Which brand are you consuming that?
Crumble cookies.
Crumble. This one is called, I'm going to find, we already figured out what it was. It's Chip City.
How much sugar in that crumble? Let me see that sugar. That's all I care about.
In one
grams
cookie.
of cookie.
That's actually not that bad. That's one Gatorade.
Do you know how much, dude? 36 grams? That's a ton of sugar.
Well, it's as much as a can of soda, so it's actually not.
How much
as
was in
bad
each
as it could
lunch
be.
you were eating for like 12 months? Like
A lot. Guess how much is in my lunch now, Nick?
0.
Thank you. Well, I think there's actually like a gram or two because I eat a lot of fruit, but that's besides the point.
You're allowed to eat fruit
not
on
added
your
sugar.
program. All
No,
right.
it's not. It's natural sugar, but your boy's counting his macros every single day. Shout out MyFitnessPal. Oh, sponsor me, please.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to lead with Caroline Ellison's SBF testimony. Easy, you were paying close attention. You have the details. How did this testimony go down?
Yeah, I've been following it like really closely. I even said yesterday, like, dude, I would pay to be in that courtroom. So they are taking phones beforehand. They're taking cameras beforehand. They're not allowing any electronics. So people are taking notes literally by hand and paper. So we're going back to the Stone Age just to track this. But it's been like very electric to follow. Gary Wang, the CTO, testified last week. Caroline Ellison started her testimony on Monday of this week. So it's been 2 days now. Today will actually be day 2. She showed up Monday, testified starting yesterday. Started the entirety of the testimony with, yes, I'm guilty of committing fraud, money laundering, wire fraud, and additional financial crimes. But the reason I committed those was because SBF told me to. He also continued to state that they submitted profit and loss documentation to our investors, and they fudged all the numbers to showcase that the debt at Alameda was significantly less. They took what she stated was $14 billion of customer funds as a backstop for Alameda. They had an unlimited line of credit. And something that dropped yesterday that a lot of people are waiting to hear the results on was there was actually a separate entity involved in propping and market making with Alameda that has not been released yet. So that's like what everyone's expecting this like hammer to be, this breaking news moment is whatever this second entity is. We're waiting to hear what it is. Supposedly that could drop today or tomorrow. A lot of people are speculating that it's Justin Sun and Tron that was working with them because Justin Sun was able to take UST off the platform before the collapse, as well as all Tron-based assets. So a lot of people are speculating that he was involved to some capacity with backstopping, funding, market making, and more. So there's still a lot of speculation on the case because we haven't gotten down that line of questioning just yet. But overall, we've gotten some information that I think a lot of people already knew, some new information. Of course, they talked about the fact that SBF and Caroline broke up because she was not supposed to talk about their relationship, and in a private Signal group chat did. And that's what actually led to their breakup, is what Caroline's claiming, as well as a lack of communication. So we're getting some personal details. We're getting some criminal details. There's a picture that went somewhat viral yesterday of a caricature from the case in which Caroline's pointing directly at SBF, which many people speculated, like, please show me the person who told you to commit these crimes. And it's a picture of her on the stand pointing right at SBF. So it's been like an electric situation to follow. I follow a few pages who are just like openly responding as soon as they can, because obviously they have to basically wait till lunch break and closing of the trial each day, which I believe is 5 p.m. and noon, for any of this information to drop. So right around lunchtime, right around the end of the day, you're getting a swarm of information. And I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. I think we're just really heating up. We didn't get as much coverage from Gary Wang, the CTO, because he was basically just like, yeah, we did this. I was told to do this. Him and Caroline have both already pled guilty so far to these crimes in cooperation against SBF. SBF has pled not guilty and is facing 115 years in prison for his crimes. So he's fighting back. He's the only one from all of this to be fighting back. Alex
Trebeko. Are you reading off a document?
No. I'm just looking at the screen here. Dude, I just memorized this shit. Isn't there another Trebeko? Isn't there like a late night talk show host?
Alex
You're thinking of
Trebek.
Alex Trebek.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
It's Sam Trebeko, right? That
Sam
was his name,
Trebeko.
right?
Sam Trebeko.
Yeah.
No, it
Is
is. I think it's Sam Trebeko. That's where I got it mixed up. Is Alex Trebek? Sam Trebeko.
Yeah, Sam Trabucco.
Yeah, so I knew it wasn't Trebeko. So there you go. That's why I was racking my brain
He's
here.
Italian.
But he's not in court. He's not in court. So that's the other thing, is they're trying to get him to also testify, and he's not here. So that's like the big other one here.
Well,
Because
he's on the run.
Yeah, he's on the run. There's speculation he's in Dubai hanging out with Kyle Davies from the good old situation that went down there too. So there's still a lot that's happening behind the scenes here, but it's been crazy to follow. It's been like an alarming news cycle. It's been a lot of fun for me as a third-party bystander who has no involvement and did lose a little bit of cash at FTX, but I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it because now we're getting all the juicy details.
Nick?
Well, it's interesting, all the images coming out. I mean, this is like if you see Tiffany Fong's latest tweet, it's the picture. Man, the memes around Caroline.
Very rude.
It's difficult to observe. It's challenging to watch.
Incels are a growing population rapidly.
Insults
I have
are a growing population.
It's an incels.
Oh, incels.
I have a quick question. Easy. Do you think there's any chance at this rate that SBF gets less than like 5 years in prison? Because I remember when this thing was starting, that people were saying like, "Oh, he's donated so much money to the different."
I think there's a chance. I genuinely think there's a chance. I think
No
there
way,
might be
dude. He's going to jail for like he's definitely getting like even Martin Shkreli. I heard him last night on Leap Space say that, and like, dude, this guy's been to jail. Like he thinks that Caroline and Alex Trebek will do like 5 years, and then he thinks life for SBF.
I definitely think it's a significant. She definitely gets jail time is my bet. We should take an over-under on this.
I like the over-under because I don't think she gets jail time.
You don't? Okay,
No.
well, I'll take the counter. How much are you ready to bet?
I don't know. Throw a number out there.
Well, how about we first place a bet? What's the over/under on number of calories in a Chip City cookie, in your opinion, on a s'more cookie? Because I just found out.
1,210.
Okay,
I'd say Caroline gets 2 years
350.
worker release
That low?
or ankle bracelet.
Yeah, ankle bracelet seems feasible.
No.
They ain't sending that pretty little like any juror is going to see like their daughter in that person. They're not going to be like 5 years.
Pretty was not a description that most people were using. I'm going to be honest, but like I'm not God's gift to the world, so I'm going to be honest about this. Like
You're a close second.
It's weird for me to be, coming out and commenting on anybody's looks.
Is it a jury or a judge?
Yes.
There
is a jury.
What's up with this thing? What? Yeah,
Because there's both. There's a jury and the judge. There's a judge who will rule on the sentencing or at the time spent, and there's a jury that will decide guilty or not guilty.
Okay, so jury convicts, judge will put the length of time.
Yeah, it took them an extensive process to find the jury who was not biased was the bigger issue here. This has been going since the start of the summer when they started jury selection, and that was the bigger issue was they had so many people in New York who knew about the case in some capacity.
I want to go to this case, but I'm concerned about the amount of time that I'm going to be without a phone. Like that's like the biggest thing. I'm gonna be sitting in there, and I'm wondering. Like I saw some people post actual transcripts, and they must be actual. The people that were doing it, I think, were actually professional, sort of like journalists that go to court cases like all day long, and they have like shorthand that they can use to actually write down all of the statements that people are saying. But like, it's difficult to be able to write at the pit. This guy, Inner City Press. I mean, holy shit, this guy is covers SDNY. So like, there's no doubt this guy has a shorthand notebook, like
carpal
strategy. What? Sorry?
And carpal tunnel syndrome.
I'm wondering what, maybe he also had, I wonder if the court actually gives these transcripts. Like, I don't know how that goes down. I don't know if that's even possible. Like
in
I know
no way SBF does life in prison. No way.
I don't think so either.
10 years
max. I would say 15 max.
You'll get out in 5 after he
for good. Like, dude. After he runs up the education system in that local prison and teaches all of them how to get an economics degree or a marketing degree, multi-level.
It's a big fraud, guys. It's $8 billion.
How long did
Bernie
Madoff get? Life?
Hundreds of years.
So like,
but Bernie Madoff wasn't.
How you think he's just not going to jail?
Yeah,
because Bernie Madoff wasn't siphoning funds to both governmental parties that were running for president. I think somehow
you are totally man. You guys are completely smoking crack. I'm gonna be honest. Like that. Like the seriousness and significance of the crimes committed here are massive, and it's straight up billions of dollars of fraud. I don't know any world in which like that yes, maybe he goes to a white collar crime place. The narrative, I will say, with Bernie, which probably gave him more time associated with it, was the families that were harmed in the process. And it was not clear at that moment in time the percentage of the funds that were recoverable.
Yeah, he ran a straight Ponzi scheme. Like SBF off of one investment.
95% of the funds came back.
In Bernie Madoff?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's like, but at that time when the case was going down, it hadn't been recovered. But in this case, you already have information about the percentage of funds that have been recovered by the bankruptcy, like via the bankruptcy proceedings. And so I just think that's like one thing which shows that like that will be a point of leverage, I think, for the defense to like bring someone onto the stand who's involved in that process to explain what's gone on. That said, I mean, that guy, John, there was a great quote that actually Tiffany had tweeted, which was about, hold on one second. I'm going to find this quote. Basically, John Ray, the new CEO of FTX, called Caroline Ellison an obvious, complete fucking weirdo.
That's the lawyer guy that they brought in afterwards from Enron. That guy's hilarious.
Really?
I mean, in the courtroom, there's some footage in the courtroom from when he first came on where he's basically just kind of like, Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like this before because apparently there's no internal, like they didn't even use like QuickBooks, no internal accounting system at all. It's like a spreadsheet or something like that for $8
They used
billion.
an Excel document that they had complete editable control over. And when they sent back and forth profit and loss statements, SBF would straight up say, remove all the FTT tokens so that they don't see it as a potential liability. And they had billions of dollars of it at Alameda. So like plain and simple, they were just washing cash out to make it look like their books were great. And that's why a large percentage of us thought that SBF, FTX, and Alameda were crushing it, because they ended up continuing to get lines of credit on their assets on books, which were just completely incorrect, and were then backing every terrible trade that they made with high risk leverage with FTT tokens that they also owned and customer funds. And then they were letting Alameda trade on FTX with an unlimited line of credit.
It's also the venture capital funds that they ended up getting funded by, like Sequoia, etc. There's a lot of banks that partner with them to say, hey, if you get funded by Sequoia, we'll give you a loan, essentially. And I think there's a lot of places that operates on, and then they end up just trusting the data. I think what SBF did a phenomenal job of was exploiting the absolute living crap out of the privilege that's granted to a lot of people that are Stanford, MIT educated, VC venture-backed startups inside of this, like an insular network, essentially, that does exist, which I don't know that it's, I draw a line when it comes to thinking that like somehow political candidate, like politicians are going to somehow step in and support. They don't give a shit about SBF. Like they just care about getting donations. Like that. Like
I think the thing that Easy and Kicks, or I don't know if Kicks was also saying he's not going to do a lot of time. The thing that they're over-indexing is the fact that or under-indexing is the fact that politicians don't give a damn, and they already got the money. And like, I don't know if they're going to have to return any of it, but they don't care about him. They cared about the money he was giving them while he was giving it to them. But now they're just going to distance themselves from him big time. Big time. It's like someone that was cool in high school, but then they do something weird. No one's going to back them up anymore. They're just going to distance themselves immediately.
Because I said 10 years. 10 years isn't not a lot of time. They give like 10 years for murder these days.
Yeah, but you get out 50% of the time for good behavior, I feel like. So the whole thing is absolutely
I think violent crimes is 66% of the time. Non-violent is like 40. There's like numbers for that. And this is technically a non-violent crime. So maybe he only serves like 50 years. Honestly, what's 50 years?
Miguel said maybe he's got dirt on them. He doesn't. No. The only dirt is that he gave them money, and everybody already knows that.
This isn't the guy who got noosed in the hung in
Epstein.
Hey, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Okay, so like that situation, that guy has actual blackmail on politicians because they hooked up, that sex with underage people. So I feel like that's actual blackmail. This probably recorded on camera.
Wild.
So that
we can go down this rabbit hole if we want to. I'm down. I'm down to go full tin hat today.
No, I'm not. The goal is not to cover Jeremy Epstein. The whole point is just like the fact that like SBF has nothing on any of these people. Literally nothing. The guy is a geek, basically.
He was going to be president, guys. 5% chance.
This is the whole situation. Anyways.
Real quick, before we move on, we're going to move on to the Sandeep Polygon L2 ApeCoin proposal with Kicks in just a moment. Bunny, what do you make of the SBF situation? What's your prediction for jail time?
Oh, dude, I would say over 150 years. Legitimately.
I know, but it's funny to have your over-under not be like 60, like a little bit more conservative.
Say 150? His max sentence is 115.
Bozos like Easy, who just like they keep moving the goalposts every time the conspiracy theory doesn't work out, right? So like now he's not going to jail. Like, dude, he's definitely going to jail, dude. Like,
you said his max sentence was longer than what he's getting sentenced to. 115 years is the max.
Dude, that's the max?
That is the max for his crimes.
So I want to inject another piece of information that's breaking news here. Nobody.eth. I don't know if you remember that Twitter account. Turns out that that's actually SBF.
No way.
So that's, I'm just making this up.
Yeah. Okay. SBF doesn't do NFTs. He just does shit coins, I think.
He definitely was involved. So what happens was he set up an entire narrative where he was going to sweep the floor of apes, but didn't. We thought that it was going to pump the price of ApeCoin. I don't remember, like, that was one of my favorite shows. Well,
Elon did change his profile picture, though, to the Bored Apes, which is wild.
Kicks and me went off on an entire, we created mutually a conspiracy theory in which we were convinced that nobody
was Elon.
Elon who was going to buy Bored Ape Yacht Club, thus sending the price of ApeCoin to the moon. It was going to moon. I then put a significant amount of capital into ApeCoin right then during that show, and then promptly lost thousands of dollars as the ApeCoin price continued to drop. And there were some viewers that also were like, bro, I lost money on it. And I'm like, I'm right there with you.
Nobody, that's my name. There he is, just declaring it himself. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, all we know is that you are going to hear a lot about the Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX situation. I mean, look, it's not looking good for SBF, considering they have the higher-ups at FTX rolling over on them like Henry Hill in Goodfellas. I posted
keep really focusing on that statement. Are you workshopping a joke? Like, is there...
No. It's just comparable, man. He sat there and he pointed to Paulie and he pointed to Jimmy and the other members of the gang. And literally that's him pointing right there. Who told you to do this? It's the same thing. It's just that no one in NFTs has ever watched a movie. They don't watch movies. They watch Star Wars.
I've seen this movie. So, that's Goodfellas is a classic movie.
One of the best movies of all time.
He rolls over correct. But my thought is I feel like there's some other underlying thing to Pio. Pio has a mafia-like mindset to relationships, essentially. So if you were ever come around and not back him up, basically on some position, he's probably going to murder you. You're going to get off.
Your kneecaps are targets.
You're going to get off. You know, and that's the situation. That's sort of the mentality that PO operates on. And I don't know.
Real quick, it's funny that you just well, I'm not even gonna bring this up. I had a weird dream/nightmare last night where you seen the movie The Shining with Stanley Kubrick. I dreamt that I was in the hallway, and when I saw the two little girls that are just come and rock with us forever, I just went over and was like, "Pah!" And I was like, I'm not scared of you. And then when I woke up, I was like, yo, that was a bad move. Like, you just went and weren't scared of the little monster ghost people, and you went over and was like, ha ha, boom. I don't know. I just kind of woke up. I was like, am I about to get murdered? Like, you know, when you wake up and you think it was real? Yeah. So that you just reminded me of that a little bit. I don't know, between the movie and the murder.
That's a pretty good move. That's like kind of borderline a comedy sketch right there. And it just ends, and it's like, you're dead now.
I feel like maybe on Family Guy, Stewie did that or something. Maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. It was like a Dave Chappelle type thing where you just go and kick him in the face and you're like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, look, that was a little bit of a tangent, ladies and gentlemen. Sandeep's L2 ApeCoin proposal for Polygon kicks. I want you to lead this, but Sandeep, the co-founder of Polygon, submitted a proposal. Why did my camera turn off? Submitted a proposal to create an L2 for ApeCoin that would allow the token to scale while still being on Ethereum. And if you guys recall, when they dropped, I want to say Other Deed, I believe that the Bored Ape Yacht Club founders, the Yuga Labs founders, they came out and said that they felt like there needed to be a chain for Bored Apes, but we haven't really heard anything of that in well over a year. This would satisfy what they were pointing out there. Kix, what do you make of this as somebody building on Polygon and someone that's knowledgeable on the ins and outs of Polygon? What do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting proposal. So it would be built on Polygon's ZK EVM technology. Basically, all of these different chains are all going to the same direction, where they can essentially build you your own customized chain, where you're going to be able to save a lot on gas costs. So Arbitrum's doing similar stuff to this. Optimism, AVAX, Polygon, they're all kind of heading in the same direction. But basically how this would work is Polygon would set them up with the ZK EVM chain, and they would help them set up the validators, the nodes, the indexer, all the technology that you need to basically run your own chain. And then they're proposing that the fees on the blockchain, the gas fees, right, could be in ApeCoin. And then they're basically saying, like, in order to run this whole thing, they would it would cost Polygon like 200K a year. But I mean, there's a lot of questions. Of course, like, can the ApeCoin DAO make Yuga Labs port all of their assets over to this chain? Right? There's some questions about, you know, how that would work out. I definitely don't agree with Machi. I don't think Machi maybe fully understands the proposal, or maybe he does, but he said that the AIP is like someone inviting you over to their poker game where you pay for the dealers, the booze, the space, and they take a 30% rake. No, the sequencer fees would go to ApeCoin DAO. And if the gas was in Ape, then ApeCoin DAO would make all of the fees on the L2. So that's just not true at all. And if you look at comparable costs at how much all of these other chains are charging people to basically roll up your own chain, it's in the 10 to 20K range, probably. So it's not a ridiculous proposal at all.
Easy. What do you make of it?
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit, personally. Not a fan of it. I don't think an ApeCoin chain is really like the best option here, personally. Maybe I'm just out to lunch on this, but I just don't think it's like the most viable option for an AIP. I think that there's other ways to utilize and capitalize on something like this. I don't see the ApeCoin chain being like this end all be all. And I feel like if anyone was going to do it, Yuga would just do it, which is to me where I'm like, why are we even kind of entertaining this? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. Not a fan, personally. That's just me. I don't know. I hope it doesn't pass.
We'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, Machi does have an AIP of his own out, or I guess that did get approved, correct? So, Clemente, am I right about that?
Yeah, it did get passed. He hasn't received the money yet, though. It is interesting seeing, like, so I've pulled up Spencer Tucker's tweet in support of the new AIP, and he's the chief gaming officer of Yuga Labs. There's also been a little bit of controversy about like specific council members, ApeCoin council members supporting AIPs, like on Twitter and being like in public support of it, saying they're swaying the votes. The whole ApeCoin thing is kind of falling apart right now, considering that Yuga is laying off a bunch of people. Meanwhile, they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for these council members as well as the ApeCoin people, which is kind of been interesting to see.
Very interesting. But
it's no surprise that Spencer Tucker, the head of gaming, is the one coming out in support of this, because just it's impossible for Yuga to scale their gaming vision on layer ones. Like they just certain things that they want to do is just mathematically impossible. No one's going to buy a 50-cent asset if gas costs are $6 to trade it, right? In L2, and how they're doing their L2 is it would be like a Validium rollup. So basically the data actually goes off chain and then is improved and stored there. I have mixed feelings on that, but basically anything in the L2, L3 range, you're kind of sacrificing a little bit of short-term decentralization for savings and speed. But this would essentially save them like 90%, if not more. It would be cheaper than even base, right? So like think about how cheap base is. It would be cheaper than that. So if Yuga Labs is thinking we want 100,000 players, 1 million players, they're trading every day, we have, you know, a ton of transactions going through, then they would be looking for solutions like this, where they're going to get higher transactions per second. It's going to be cheaper. Like it's a no-brainer. If you believe in Yuga Labs being like a gaming enterprise, there's a 0% chance they stay on Ethereum mainnet. So they're either going to just go to someone else's L2, or they're going to create their own roll-up. And there's probably reasons why they would want to create their own roll-up potentially. But there's plenty of different people that offer it other than Polygon.
It's going to be very interesting to see it play out. Interesting to see a high-level staff member of Yuga Labs in support of it. Bunny, you have your hand raised. Some thoughts on this?
Yes. So the fact that it's being shilled by like Spencer and then council members, I'm with Machi, dude. That's big sus, bro. Automatically against it.
Oh, really? Why
I
is
don't
that,
know,
Bunny?
I don't know. It seems like something funny's going on, man. Like, first of all, are council members supposed to support AIPs? Like, I didn't even think that was their job.
Well, doesn't he work for Yuga Labs?
Yeah, Yuga Labs and ApeCoin are supposed to be different entities, though, right? They keep telling me that. Now this guy's shilling
Yeah, I mean,
AIPs down my
I
throat.
get
I
being
don't know.
against it. Some people don't like Polygon for whatever reason, just like some people don't like AVAX, just like some people don't like Solana or don't like Cardano. Like it's fine, but then you have to propose some sort of different solution. How is Yuga Labs going to scale? It's not on Ethereum, so
It's all well. I think it's also unclear. Would it be when people say it's power? Something is powered by ApeCoin, like other side. I'm very curious how. I don't think any of us know how that's actually going to work, as far as why it needs to be on a different chain or on an L2. Is it
yeah,
just going to be for the transactions? Like, I don't really understand too much
yeah,
of
it's
it
a
at
great
all, and
question.
I don't think 95% of the people voting on this ApeCoin stuff even understand or know how that's all going to work out, which is part of the problem.
Yeah, so how it works is basically a typical L2. Their gas costs are in ETH, right? So Optimism's gas cost is in ETH. Arbitrum's gas cost is in ETH, right? They take ETH, they make some of that as a sequencer fee, then they use the rest of it to pay to send the data down to L1, where Ethereum layer 1 is securing the network, right? But like AVAX subnets, Optimism, you can roll up your own chain. Arbitrum, you can roll up your own chain. Polygon, you can roll up your own chain. When you roll up your own chain, you can set what token is going to be the gas cost on your chain. It doesn't have to be Ethereum. And then basically, you have sequencers or like validators that are approving all of the transactions on your chain. Those people receive the fees, the gas fees, right? So if they were to create their own chain in any sort of type of way, they can make Ape be the gas costs, and then they can make ApeCoin DAO be like the sequencer receiving all of the fees at first. So they're receiving all the Ape that's used as gas. And then eventually you can decentralize the sequencers or the validators, and you can say, anybody can come in. If you have 10,000 ApeCoin, you can stake, you can be a validator, you can validate the network, and you earn some of the fees. So like that's what a lot of people are trying to do. Basically, long story short, like if you're rolling up your own chain, which is usually on top of like L2s or it's on like L1s, you can create your own whatever gas token you want. So like Shrapnel, right, is an AVAX subnet. They could use their Shrap token as the gas cost there. They could also use AVAX as the gas cost there. You can use whatever you want. ApeCoin could use ETH as the gas cost if they wanted to on their own chain, or they could use Ape.
What would you do, Kicks, if you were in this position? If you were Yuga Labs, what would you do?
I certainly wouldn't just go to an L2, because the thing is that L2s, if crypto keeps blowing up, if you have a couple apps scale out of the moon, then the L2 becomes congested from a gas cost, right? When you think of yourself as a business, it's really hard to scale something where you don't know like how far you can scale without costs becoming this complete variable that can totally crush your margins, right? If gas costs go up by 50x on a gaming app, they could all of a sudden be losing money, right? So I think it just makes complete sense that they would create their own chain, right? And when you're talking about the complexity, if they're trying to create their own alt layer 1, like an AVAX or a Solana, that's really fucking hard to do, right? Look at what Coinbase did. Coinbase's chain base is built, it's an Optimism rollup. They took Optimism's open source code and they created their own layer 2. That's what Yuga Labs should do. They should create their own L2 using someone else's solution. Because why? Like $200K a year, that's one employee for Yuga Labs. That's not expensive. $200K a year, and you're going to handle, when you create your own chain, you need an indexer, right? So that people can hit it, right? You need validators, you need nodes, you need RPCs, right? There's a lot of annoying things that you have to do in additional just to like setting it up. 200K a year is a drop in the bucket. So I would bet that if Yuga Labs, it can't be on Ethereum. It's probably not going to go to like a Solana or an AVAX C chain. So they're going to create their own sub chain. somewhere.
And what you're pointing out, let's say Yuga Lab said we're going to go on base. What you're pointing out is, what if base blows up? Everybody wants to use base. Yuga doesn't have control over that. Obviously, they're not going to be able to influence base to say turn down business, turn down entities that want to build on base. And so you're saying that if Yuga makes their own chain, they have that control over the chain and they don't have to worry about scaling issues that are created by things out of their control.
Exactly, because like then it's their own chain. Only their apps are on it. They have a lot clearer idea of how they're going to scale up, what their max throughput is, how many transactions per second is the max that they can go to. Versus, like you said, if they're on Coinbase and Coinbase blows up, the core problem is Ethereum has like 16 transactions per second maximum, right? So like even if you build an L2 and make it more efficient, now people are building L3s to try to get it more efficient, right? Like really, it's going to be like Ethereum getting to like sharding and all of that crap that I don't really understand. That's going to get Ethereum L1's TPS up from 16 to like 1600. Then that solves a lot of like the scaling issues. But yeah, like you go on Coinbase and Yuga Labs launches there. A couple other big projects launch there. They congest the fuck out of it. Their gas costs go up by an order of magnitude. Now they're back in the same problem. So creating their own chain, sub chain, makes a lot of sense.
Man, a lot of gaming entities are going to have to figure out how to continue. What we can talk about is Immutable and Amazon's partnership, which was just announced. So yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, Immutable, formerly known as Immutable X, announced a partnership with Amazon, which essentially brings Immutable's blockchain infrastructure as a service to Amazon's gaming clients to help them launch their games leveraging blockchain technology. Big news. Easy. What do you make of this?
I think it's huge, to be honest. Immutable had some really good comments about it, saying that this is going to open up a world to networks that they can actually leverage that have existing games through Amazon's publishers. And this partnership seems more tangible than some of the Google partnerships that we've seen for blockchains where they're running node support, which is more so decentralized network capabilities. This one actually seems like a legitimate partnership where Immutable is going to be working alongside Amazon to help scale. Amazon was supposed to have an NFT marketplace that was supposed to launch in April. That's since been delayed indefinitely with no tangible date. But I think this continues to show that Amazon has some level of belief in the blockchain industry, and it looks like they're leaning into gaming. So I'm not terribly surprised. We also got news that Steam, the popular game launcher, finally listed a Web3 game. They listed Parallel Alpha. For the first time ever, Steam has accepted a Web3 game onto the launcher, despite public and open statements that they will not be launching Web3 games. Epic Game Store has been extremely supportive of launching Web3 games. You have a couple others that have been also in support of it. Epic obviously being the largest, Steam's largest competitor. I was very surprised to see Steam put Parallel Alpha on their game store as a launcher. I'm curious if they had to take away some of the NFT and crypto components to get on there, but like we are seeing more of these applications get acceptance. Apple App Store is now accepting NFT and crypto platforms and applications. Google Play Store has been largely in support of Web3 applications from crypto and NFTs. And Google Play also now allows you to ingest and import NFT assets into their applications. So that's some big wins coming from that front. And all of these are really tailored towards gaming. So now seeing Amazon do this, which Amazon is also has a gaming vertical that hasn't scaled terribly great, but they did partner with Twitch. So Amazon Prime gets you free Twitch subscribers and partnerships, all that other stuff. If you have Amazon Prime, you can sub for free. So that's one way that I could see some level of scale. And this becomes really, really interesting because Amazon has also been driving Twitch partner games, which are Web3 friendly. We've seen a few of them on there, which I think is huge. And Amazon Gaming has also been pushing the marketing side of things for Web3 gamings in a way that we haven't fully seen from some of these massive corporations. So I think this news is actually really big. And Immutable's been great. If you've played any games on there, me and Kix actually played Gods Unchained on there and both spent way more money than we probably should have trying to build a great deck. But the games are fun. I will say a Solana project bridged over to Immutable X, a Rooneyverse that is mobile friendly first. So we are seeing a lot of this scale from Immutable that isn't as Web3 intensive, where microtransactions, et cetera, can actually be handled without people knowing it's on a blockchain, which is why I think Amazon's excited about this, because they can drive action without the need of shoving NFTs and Web3 in someone's face. That user cycle is much easier. And now you have this marketing and network engine from Amazon that has a wide plethora of people. Oh, they bought Twitch. All right, my bad. So Amazon owns Twitch, but they also have Amazon Gaming, which is like another entity that's separate, which, yeah, I'm really interested to see how this continues to scale. But I think this is huge news.
If you
And-
say
and real-
fast enough, it sounds accurate. The thing I was going to say is Immutable.
Sorry, some of us ramble for 45 minutes and don't say a goddamn thing, Nick.
Okay, it was Immutable is on Polygon. So this is a Polygon powered the Polygon ZK EVM.
It's the
I
same
think.
thing as it's the same thing as the ApeCoin proposal. It's basically a Polygon supernet or a subnet. So it's built using their technology, and then they kind of set up the blockchain.
Would that make it an L3?
Yeah, depending on how you look at it. It depends if they're rolling the data right down to Ethereum or if they're rolling the data to Polygon and then Polygon's rolling it down.
Can we just skip and move to an L4? Because I'd be really interested in that. And
there's
that
actually
makes
people building L4s right now. Yeah.
what? So and they're building that on AWS?
Yeah, I mean that's probably
Well, eventually what's going to happen is someone's going to come up with the innovative idea of a SQL database. And so that's going to be like really interesting.
Actually, I'm gonna tell you something.
Dial
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. But yeah, so in terms of this deal, like it's definitely interesting. I wasn't able to find in the articles anywhere where it was saying like Amazon's going to give deal flow to Immutable. Maybe I wasn't reading the right one.
Immutable discussed the network opportunity of it, not Amazon. In Immutable's post, they said that this opens up a network opportunity. So
it
I do
opens up
agree.
an opportunity. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It opens up like, you know, when you go to the bar, you have an opportunity to score a 10. You probably aren't, but yeah, what Pia?
Well, what I was going to say is, no. Look, I like all the commentary here. I do. I want to point out that Machi Big Brother, I think at this point, the largest holder of Bored Apes, if not the largest, definitely a top 3 holder of Bored Apes, has joined the show. Machi was on the show maybe 5-6 weeks ago on video. Really enjoyed having him here, but it seems like Clemente has summoned him. Machi, we were pointing out that you had tweeted last night, the Polygon AIP is like someone inviting you over to their poker game where you pay for the dealers, the booze, and the space, and then they take a 30% rake. Kix did disagree with that comment. I'd love to hear a little bit of color from you, Machi, on the way you're thinking about this. Oh, and congratulations on your AIP going through.
Thanks, man. I wrote that on the assumption of the calls that we had. So I guess the calls, they did take one piece of advice from my call, which is not to take a 30% rake from the poker table. So there's no 30% rake. I rechecked the AIP this morning, and yeah, they're not taking that 30% rake anymore. But they're still making us pay for the booze and the dealers and the space and fucking the poker girls.
Is there a chance that you get laid though?
I don't know if your poker games have poker girls, but yeah, like yeah.
Your poker games certainly do. But Machi, here's the question: what's the alternative? How are they going to create their own chain for less than 200K a year? That's what I'm not sure on.
Yeah, so there's Optimism, there's Arbitrum, there's a few other layer 2s. So these are all, the security is handled by Ethereum, and then, the layer 2 runs on top of Ethereum. Like, so basically Polygon, although they started as their own layer 1, they're not doing it no more. They're like, okay, we're going to swap over to just play on top of Ethereum because Ethereum won, right? Ethereum beat everybody. So I'm an ETH maxi, by the way. And anyways, so they're building their ZK, layer. Yeah, Ethereum won. They're building their ZK on top of that. They want to do they're like, what do you like, kind of like a plug and play SDK, or they call it the
CDK.
PDK or whatever, CDK. So it's like whatever, chain development kit or something like that. So and it's plug and play. Like, it's 6 minutes to get it up and running. Someone wrote in a comment below or something. I don't know, because I'm not a dev, but supposedly all these CDKs, the ones from Arbitrum and the one that's issued by Polygon, is all not plug and play, but a lot easier than if you need like deep industry knowledge and you have to run it all by yourself, because the security is handled by them. A lot of things are already handled by their fork or their CDK. Now, what's one that's doing really well that everybody knows about? Base. So Coinbase is, I'll like pin it to the top, but basically Base is built off Optimism's fork or Optimism CDK. So there's already a successful example. I kind of would lean toward one that's already doing well like that. And again, I don't like the fact that Polygon gave Utes $3 or $4 million US and then asked us to pay 200K in order to get ApeChain. I'm like, the disrespect is real. So yeah. I'm expecting 3 to 4 million minimum from them for us to even like look or smell their way. I'm just like that. We should be, right.
like any of you guys apes in here, which I don't see many of you guys. A lot of you guys are like, you know, weirdo seals or weirdo penguins or some weird doggies. A lot of weird doggies on this fucking
Don't talk
stage.
about the
Anyways.
dogs, motherfucker.
Well,
That's number
actually,
one.
you got a problem, Machi. You came to the dog town and you don't own any of the dogs, so that's actually a real question. You're gonna come out here and fade our own project on our stage?
I love my Pomeranians, so I love you doggies. Don't worry about it. But my point being is that you guys.
Wait, no, hold on, pause, Machi, real quick. Just pause. Do you know what the dogs are?
No, whenever I see the dogs, I think of Easy Bodega or something. The Bodega kid. Yeah, Easy Eats Bodega.
You're talking about literally one of the people who's on the stage right now, who's one of our co-hosts and a partner in the business.
When I see the doggies, I think of him. I think of Bodega.
Okay, that's okay. You can think of that.
Branded it.
So FYI, it's our project. It's our PFP, one of our PFP projects. So the real question, Machi, is why haven't you swept like 100 of them, since you're just easily, when they cost $20 each or $40 each, whatever the price is right now.
You guys are down bad. 20 or $40.
It's Solana, motherfucker. Take it easy.
Holy crap. 20 or $40. God damn. DeFi apes are way above you guys. Holy crap.
So okay. So here's the challenge for you to buy it. For you to buy 1,000 of them is you literally trading one of the 100 apes that you have. Why haven't you done that yet?
You know, I do better. You know, I'll think about putting it into a fucking museum, like AIP 304. You know, like you guys, you know, are like repping it a little bit longer, another like 10, 15 years. We'll stick one of these fuckers in a museum.
Well,
I mean, it's interesting.
We need your help to get it there, Machi. And step one is become a Bodago. Grab some Bodagos and add them to the portfolio. Support the creators.
Solana, right? This is what's gonna happen. We pass an ape chain eventually. You guys migrate those fucking doggies off Solana to our ape chain, and then everything starts going your way. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, you guys are on the chain that's down bad, real bad.
I mean, look, we're not going to get into a whole. Solana is actually beyond on the up and up. I understand that you're an
one
ETH
that doesn't
maxi.
require 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Look, I'm not going to turn this into like I don't need to back up Solana because Solana is doing literally just fine. It's actually pretty damn poppin', objectively speaking. But I respect your position on what Bored Ape Yacht Club should do and on Ethereum. Your discussion of the Bodagos was insanely disrespectful, but I'm going to give you a pass on that, Machi. Machi, I guess. Well, yeah, glad you thought that was funny. Last but not least, I guess what would you do if you're Yuga Labs? Is it just make your own chain? Is that what you're thinking?
No, you guys let people off. They're gonna focus on stuff, right? So it's probably not building a marketplace. It's probably not doing their own chain. From what I can tell, I think the best thing for them would be to do the IRL experiences, but you know, they're a company, so they want to make money. It's definitely in the gaming, right? And they've already like spent a lot on gaming. Like you could tell, right? There are other deeds, these like, you know, licensing deals or these partnerships with you know, whatever the heavy metal or, you know, and all of them, they kind of like working together, a 10 ETF, like there's stories, there's narratives, there's games, and I'm sure they're gonna accept more games that want to license their IP. Doesn't matter, the punks, the me bits, or whatnot, and they're gonna build that other side. Either with, it doesn't matter if it's with that Improbable, who they probably ditched and found a new, or you know, bought their own spatial company, whatever they did, right? But eventually, they come out with their own MMORPG. You could call it metaverse. You can call it a MMORPG, and the difference between that and like Roblox and all those other guys, I guess, is again the crypto and the Web3 factor, right? The NFT factor. That's the difference between them and Fortnite and all those other ones. But I you know, I got a big bag, so I'm gonna, you know, bet that eventually they're gonna figure it out, and then they'll be the, you know, Fortnite or Roblox of Web3, and that's a win.
So
and
how close?
They've already said powered by ApeCoin.
So 2 questions. One here is, do you think that moving from 15 fronts that they were operating down to 13 was an effective level of focus for Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga? And then the second question is, when you compare Ape Chain which it's not even called. It's ApeCoin. So I like this idea. I guess once it becomes like Polygon's implementing it. But what would you estimate right now the volume of ApeCoin and related transactions are relative to Solana?
Oh shit. I don't know.
I'll give you the
anything
answer.
about
It's
Solana.
0%, basically. It's like on in the grand scale of things, it's like maybe 1 or maybe 0.1% of the size of Solana. But it's close. I'd say like Solana's
Wait. I think if ApeCoin launched an ape chain, right, and done well with the team executing on it, it could rival any of these fuckers. Any of these motherfuckers.
Thank you for
I
the
think they could
unbiased
do it.
take.
This is crazy to think about. I mean,
what do you
literally,
want me to say? That if we bought the ape chain, it's gonna be empty? What do you want me to say?
speak the truth,
doing
man.
ape
Give us
chain.
an honest take.
I'm gonna give you an
Let
honest
him
take.
cook.
If there's an AC token, right, an ape chain token, I bet all the DeFi protocols will come over, the major ones, like the ones that do bridge to other chains, right? Aave's gone places, Curve's gone places. I don't think Compound has moved off of ETH at all. I don't think they've gone anywhere. I think they explored Cosmos or Polkadot or something like that, but they haven't gone anywhere. But Curve's gone to like Base, Curve's gone to a few places. Definitely Cream has gone multi-chain. Any of the DeFi protocols that have gone multi-chain, they're coming to fucking ape chain.
Well,
Then we're
yeah.
talking about NFTs, right?
let
Let's
it,
talk
let,
about NFTs. The bodega doggies are coming to ape chain. Well, we launch one, they're gonna fucking ditch Solana and they're gonna come over and guess
Hey,
what? They're gonna fucking 10x. They're gonna go from
if-
$20 and $40 to $200 to $400. How's
you
that
s-
for bringing you guys on board?
if you spend the amount that you spend on dinner each week on buying bodagos, like one time, then we can discuss moving it over to ape chain. I'll move it to any chain that you move it over to if you end up if you consider doing that. So
okay, Frank.
Well, there you go. That's what I mean. Solana don't have loyalty. They get liquidity locust. They already lost Utes and D-Gods. D-Gods, they bailed on fucking Solana. And guess what? After you guys leave, there's no one's left. Doggies are gone. The Utes and D-Gods are gone. They're all gone. And ape chain's blowing up. What do you want? Ape chain take over.
well, it sounds like you don't want that move. I don't know. I mean, it's just a difficult thing. Well,
I would be surprised if Ape Chain isn't out in the next 2 years, maybe even in the next year. Because if they have, like you, Machi, you talked about them creating an MMORPG. MMO stands for massively multiplayer online. So if they have a massive amount of people playing, it's certainly not going to work on Ethereum layer 1. And this isn't like a revolutionary concept in gaming. The biggest Web3 game of all time, Axie Infinity, literally went out and created their own chain, the Ronin chain. But like going back to like the where should ApeCoin end up on, I guarantee you Ronin chain spends a lot more than $200K a year to run their chain. I'd probably put it in the couple $1 million per year because it's it's not an L2 roll up kind of thing. So yeah, it comes down to like how much does,
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
I
it's
mean,
going
like,
to cost a lot, right?
Yeah.
So do we spend ApeCoin or do we have another chain token? We go raise around from VCs or from people that are interested in investing. Then we'll have more cash and we'll have an ape chain to incentivize people to come over and use our chain.
So you want the Ronin playbook. I like it. I do like that. Yeah.
Last comment on this. There is a massive Machi Big Brother expose sitting in my drafts right now. And I just wanted to say we can cut a deal here, man. We can cut a deal, you know.
100 bodagos and Nick doesn't press publish. How about that?
Oh my God. You guys publish anything you want. You guys don't know who the fuck I am. Fucking, you write some bullshit, I'll sue you for defamation.
Well,
you
first
write
of all,
anything like a nice autobiography on me, then maybe I'll pass like AIP that allows your fucking bodegas on the fucking ape chain.
well, first of all, if you sued us, I would view it as a W because that would be a lot of fun. So now you're just making me want to make a bunch of stuff up. That's number one. Number two, I don't.
You can cry for donations. You might get $1 million.
We don't need $1 million. We're good. We'll take you on, Machi. But I do think it's funny that you're obsessed with bringing our NFT to like another chain. So do you have any Solana NFTs? I know you were like making comments about Solana. I can tell that they're a little bit tongue in cheek, but there's probably some truth there on your side in your mind. Solana isn't going anywhere. If Solana is, as thriving as it is, now, and even more so in a year, will you say that you're wrong about that? Or is this a permanent, like almost political position against Solana?
It's a religious position. It's not political. You're asking me to go to another god, and it doesn't work like that. could see, like people are pretty. Anyways, people are pretty tied up with whoever they believe in, right? So I mean, one of the coolest kids is from Solana, and he's out here in Taipei. That whole team is, and those kids are awesome. I love them, and I think definitely Solana's got some real fucking crack devs over there. So yeah, they're not going away. Like you said, I'm just kind of playing. Like they're definitely one of the players out there, man. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
well,
at
Machi,
least they have a few thousand sequencers. Your favorite Optimism rollup Coinbase has one
Just one.
sequencer.
Just one, right?
Coinbase.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they'll decentralize eventually, man. P.O. Why you
Over
gotta do that?
time, they'll decentralize, hopefully.
When the bear market comes back, you can bet on ApeCoin. Like when the bull market comes back, maybe it's a good bet on ApeCoin. So looking forward to that future.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Machi Big Brother, this is P.O. Machi. I'm not all five people talking to you at the same time. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Machi Big Brother joining the show, second time in about 2 months. Interesting to hear his perspectives on what Ape Chain, the future of a potential Ape Chain would look like, what ApeCoin can do.
His unbiased perspective. It's
very unbiased. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to close out with a few monkey bars here in honor of all the ape talk, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. If it's your first time listening, the show happens Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern.